The police officer right over there almost ran my kid over because I was texting my wife. You know, my son kind of wandered off in front of him, and he didn't, you know, the cop was kind of tall, so he didn't see him and almost ran him over. Or, you know. It was a cell phone incident. It just happened.
Talk to many parents and they'll say it's easy to get distracted when they're supposed to be keeping an eye on their kids. But now, people who specialize in childhood injuries say they've noticed a troubling shift in the last 5 years. Smartphones and other mobile devices have given caregivers a whole new layer of distraction.
I think the cell phone, we tend to carry them on our bodies, so when they're buzzing or beeping or flashing, even when we don't want to pay attention to them, they get our attention.
While there appear to be no formal studies proving the connection between device distraction and child injuries, statistics show a compelling coincidence. After falling for much of the last decade, non-fatal injuries among children under 5 have started to rise again. From 2007 through 2010, those injuries grew by 12%. Meanwhile, during roughly the same period, the number of cell phone users who own a smartphone grew from 6% to 30% in the U.S. Today, nearly half of all Americans own one of these devices, sending emails, playing games, and posting on social media sites.
You do see people get distracted, I think, probably more so than it should happen. But it's the technology world, so it's just the way it goes.
More than a dozen doctors, researchers, and police officers interviewed by the Wall Street Journal said they see a possible connection between device distraction and the injury increase, more so than other factors like budget cuts or riskier behavior.
Well, it's very well understood within the emergency medicine community that utilizing devices, handheld devices, while you are assigned to watch your kid, that resulting injuries could very well be because you are utilizing those tools.
Child health experts had expected injury rates to keep dropping, as they had for decades, thanks in part to product safety laws. But young children are getting hurt more, according to government data. Injuries involving playground equipment jumped 17% from 2007 to 2010. Injuries from nursery equipment, like changing tables, were up 31%. The injuries, though down in other age groups, are happening to children under 5, who often require greater supervision, something a smartphone can interfere with. Researchers say people who are completing a task on a device don't report feeling distracted.
We feel like, oh, it's a quick Twitter or a quick check of Facebook, but because increasingly these screens don't just give us one thing, and in fact they're designed to seduce you into looking at more and more and more things. So as a result, we're drawn into a world away from the physical world, like a park like this.
That may have been the case at a Connecticut swimming pool in 2010, where a woman was babysitting her friend's 2-year-old. The woman was allegedly busy texting when the boy nearly drowned and had to be revived. According to police reports, the woman said she took her eyes off the boy for about 20 seconds. Security camera footage showed it was about 3 minutes. But even if you do look up every 20 seconds, Clifford Nass says it takes a while to refocus when you're absorbed by an app or a message on an electronic device.
Even when we look up, to a large degree, our brain is still in the world we were working in. So it's as if your eyes were one place, but your brain were in another place, and that happens a lot. So we often don't see or observe what we see.
3, 4, jump!
When Alessandra Bradley Burns realized that multitasking was becoming a big distraction, she decided to do something about it. Now she limits her access to her work email when she's out with her children.
I don't have my work email go to my cell phone, it only goes to my iPad, and so when I go to the park with my 6 kids, I don't work, so I don't have my iPad with me.
It's well established that using a smartphone while driving increases the chance of an accident. Still, it's difficult to prove the same for texting while parenting. Police reports don't usually note what a parent was doing during an accident, except in cases of obvious neglect. And doctors don't often ask parents what they were doing when their child was injured. And even if they did, parents typically don't admit their phones distracted them.
Folks are not going to admit to the fact, look, I was doing this, and that's why my kid fell off and broke their arm. No, they're not going to say that. But there is a subculture or underlying feeling that goes on.
But ask just about any parent, and they'll say that using smartphones around their kids is not a good idea.
Multitasking makes you dumber. You should be focused on one thing at a time. So if you're with your child, you should watch your child. If you're on your phone, then be on your phone.
But you were still on your phone today.
I'm a hypocrite, I'll admit it.
For the Wall Street Journal, this is Linda Blake in San Francisco.